Raise your hand if you've ever been busy. Raise your hand if you've ever got tired and feel like you just need a couple days off. Most people would have both hands up right now. That's our world, fast-paced and income-driven. That's why we get caught up in our own lives so often, and that's why it's understandable when most people don't focus on worries that aren't their own. So what makes someone become a humanitarian? Someone whose whole life focuses on the welfare of other humans.
When you go back and you see kids that were living on the streets, kids had no structure, they had no routine, people who had nothing, they didn't have meals. When you see that they're all of a sudden they're waking up, they have structure, they have something to do, they have a meal in their belly, their life changes completely. They, like I said, their self-esteem changes, their self-worth, their ability to know who they are in the world and what they have the potential of becoming, you know, to give that hope, to give that dream, and then to watch people actually use that to do good for themselves and others it's amazing. It becomes an addiction.
And with Serena's help, we'll find the meaning of life to a humanitarian.
Not my skill set, nor do I want to learn it.
Sometimes, because I put up stuff which I kind of test in the wilderness. I don't know if I was the best one to teach them that. However, and although it was a really good one you said, I was like, oh,
the baby out with the bathwater.
I do know where that.
So for me, rather than doing something half-heartedly or like just half.
Hello.
Hello. How are you doing, Miss Barbara Beckley?
Awesome as always, because every time we get together, it's just like a gift. Yes, it is. It is.
I mean, we're in 5 years. It just,
it was fun. It was really interesting you mentioned that, because when I was looking at the intro rolling, and I was just looking at the different, shows that we done with other people, other guests, and how we've been, just really just collaborating. That's a gift. And then 5 years to put on that we've been doing this.
We've been doing 5 years.
5 years.
4 or 5 years. Yeah.
Wow.
So just an exciting time. Time.
It is. Yeah. And we're about to hit another in a minute, because we're in October now. 2025 is coming around the corner. So
exactly. And all sorts of fun things are happening. Just one thing, hey, I'm Barbara Ellison, founder of Wellness Playroom for the best version of you. I love the fact that I can help people to find their purpose and to know that they're going to be able to retire well, to become the best version of themselves in retirement.
Yes.
And so that's one of the things that I've been working on. But you know what? You have to do also for yourself. So after you introduce yourself, I'll tell you a couple of the things that I've been doing for me that I thrive as I'm getting older.
That's good, because you're your own, I don't want to say guinea pig, but
I am. I'm my own test market type of thing. I think they call it you're your own avatar. You're your own target audience.
Yeah. So, I always tell people we're always 2 years ahead or 3 years from our own avatar, because we were there. So again, my name is Barbara J. Beckley. Real quickly, I am the CEO and president of the Diamond Factor Network TV and Network, because I do more than just help people just get visibility, but like my co-partner right here, my gift on this show, we really want you to understand your purpose, understand who you are. You're not just that title. I'm not just Barbara Beckley, president of Diamond Factor Network. That's a title. Right. But there's more into me, and my mission is just to make sure people are making sure that I call it the diamond factor in them, making it shine, not just for themselves in their own life, but shine for others, because everybody needs each other. And if we can all kind of blend together in that sense and understand what our purpose is, it's more happiness is around. See, that's why me and Barbara connects.
That's right. We had similar things. And one of the things for me is that I've always volunteered here and there. Well, now I am volunteering at my local theater. And it is the oldest theater of its kind in the country. And it's the Egyptian Theater in DeKalb, small town living. Anyways, I have started to volunteer there. Well, the tribute shows are absolutely amazing. So this past week, I went to the tribute show of all the music of the Bee Gees. Ooh. They were so good.
Oh, wow.
A group that was, and my thought while I was listening to it was, I wonder how they realized that they sounded like the Bee Gees, how did they come to be doing what they're doing? But anyways,
But before you go on, just to let everybody know, our audience, just Google Bee Gees singing group, because I know that we're aging ourselves just a little bit here. But keep going.
Well, that was exactly it. The person that, and I can't think of his name, that he played Robin, the Robin of the Gibbs brothers, because there was the three of them were the Bee Gees. But anyways, he was the Robin person. Mm-hmm. And he said, well, people, I have to tell you that today is the 53rd anniversary of this next #1 song that the Bee Gees had. And I went, 53 years ago.
I know you were like, okay.
And I was like,
this became more real.
This is like, I said, I was 21.
See, doesn't that just, I know, Barbara, it's funny how you're doing this, because I was just doing this the other day about a song that was like 40 something years old, and I was like 20 or 18. I was like, what the heck?
Yeah. But it was absolutely amazing that how far we have come in our lives.
Yeah.
And the thing is that me doing that, volunteering at the theater, getting back in touch with the memories that it came up. And a couple of the songs that they played, I went, ooh, I'd forgotten about that song. So I put them on I have a surprise playlist that I just randomly play, and it shows whatever up. But that comes under the heading of self-care.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is what is so important. And so self-care, it's that time of year. Lots of times, we are, the winter is coming, but then we have Thanksgiving, we have Christmas, and all of those things where people are going to be around people that they know, love, and care about. Correct? But not always.
Always, yeah.
So that's where self-care comes in. So do something for yourself that really helps you to be either a better communicator, or to be able to be in a relationship. So I thought we would talk about a couple of things that you can do to just have a few tips to better your relationships, especially now going into the season really of love.
Yeah.
Because right after Christmas and New Year's, it's Valentine's Day.
Oh boy, don't rush it.
Let's do some prep work. Let's do some prep work.
Let's take it. Let's just do baby steps here. Let's get to
baby steps.
That's coming up. So
Exactly.
But I wanted to ask though. I want to go back because I'm still in the Bee Gees thing right now. So
I love the Bee Gees.
So what song? Because I know you remember what song was that? You said was 53 years or something. Their song. Which song was it? Because I'm thinking of some.
Oh, there was whole many of them, and I think it was Words.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
pretty sure it was Words. And just the words are all I have to steal your heart away. But one of the things, okay, let's stay on the Bee Gees for a minute, just because this was a really fascinating story. They're Australian. I always thought they were from England, but they're actually Australian.
Australia, yeah.
They're Australian. But anyways, one year when Barry, he was the oldest, so there was Barry and then the twins, Robin and Maurice, and then there was Andy. Okay,
Andy.
so but one year when Barry was 9, I don't remember exactly how it came about. Either he asked for a guitar. No, I don't even think he did. They just gave him. They found an old guitar.
Okay.
So they gave it to him. This old guitar. They had it restringed, and this old guitar. Well, I guess a couple of months later, they came in and they heard all this music going on, and it's like, ooh, what is that?
Yeah, it was going on.
They walked into Barry's bedroom. Barry was playing the guitar, and his 2 brothers were harmonizing in perfect harmony.
Wow.
That's how they started. So their father, of course, says, well, if they've got this talent, let's do something. So they started. That's how they started. So they were singing from the time they were kids.
Yeah. And it's almost a self-taught. I mean, the way you
Almost
said
self-taught. Their parents came in and went, what is that? And they walked into the bedroom, and it was like such a fascinating story. But
that is, I didn't know that part.
To have that, talk about having your purpose, that God-given talent.
Yeah.
So if you're not quite sure of what your purpose is, what is the one thing that you do without even thinking about it? You don't have to rehearse it. You just do it because it's part of something you do. Your purpose is attached to that.
And that's what I always tell people, Barbara, when I'm talking to people, when we have discussions about, like you said, purpose, is think of something that you just do. And it's not even a thought to it most of the time. You just boom. And that's part of, like you said, that purpose that you have in you. And that's amazing.
That is your God-given thing.
Yeah. And it's just so amazing with how he just got a guitar, boom. Next thing you know,
it was there. The next thing you knew, there he was. And then to go on to having such an amazing career. I mean, and I think 250 million records. So now that, I don't think that even includes like downloads of now, but 250 million records.
I'm like,
yeah. And to have such an amazing career.
Yeah. And it's I just think about, like you saw all his brothers and stuff, and like he's the only one left. I mean, out of all of them. Yeah. And it's kind of I pray for celebrities and everything, because especially when they lose like their loved ones, especially like that close, because he was close to all his brothers and now it's just him. And for him to continue on with the legacy, that to me is powerful, because remember, we're always talking about you got to make that decision. He could have made a decision, Barbara, and just said, you know what, they're gone. I'm done. But he didn't do that, and then other people came in his life to help still move that legacy of the Bee Gees and the whole thing. Yeah.
And now so many of the groups this show was absolutely like the gentleman that played Barry, he wasn't quite as high as what Barry was. However, I mean, you would not have known it wasn't them. It was such a fabulous show. Such a fabulous show. And I was so glad, so it comes back to, what are you doing to promote well-being within you? And so if you like to volunteer, do it, or find those, like we always talk about, you and I, find that thing that makes your heart sing. And then you will find your purpose, your passion, that's your thing, finding your purpose and your passion and your drive. What's going to make you get up in the morning?
Yeah.
That's one of the things we're going to be talking about with our guest. Some of the things that he does that are just phenomenal.
Yeah, don't say something.
Oh, I'm not saying anything.
You might keep that a little secret until this wonderful king comes on. Because usually we have women that guests, but now we have some men that I like to have men on sometime, and I'm going to call him King Austin.
Exactly. So so find those things that add joy, and and they also can give you visibility for what you're doing.
Yeah, and you never know, like you said, how that's going to
Never know.
connect. Yeah. I love that. I mean, I never thought, Barbara. Well, okay, yeah, I'm going to say this. I never thought, within my brand, because everybody knows about the Diamond Factor Network, and some people know the story behind it. Some people don't. I'm still coming out with it when I talk sometime. But I would have never thought I would have been, looking at a diamond compared to Diamond Factors to Purpose. All that wasn't even, in my thought process until I went through some things, and it brought back my memory when I was younger, how that was instilled in me, and it had to bring up to my memory. They kept saying, Barbara, you're just a diamond in the rough, because I was getting bullied so much. And they kept saying, you're a diamond in the rough. You just need to shine. And I was like, okay, why is that? I feel like there's a reason for that saying. I just didn't know at the time, right?
Right.
So you see how many years passed and things happened to get to that point. Yeah.
Right. And to think you and I started out on Facebook.
Yeah.
Doing a little Happiness 101 show on Facebook.
Barbara.
And here we are 5 years later. And kudos to you, because you have been the brains behind this. I've just been kind of along for the ride and the co-pilot. But whoa.
It's funny because you mentioned that one-on-one. I just seen that the other day when I was looking at our old videos. I said, oh my God, we did have that title.
We did have that title. But now to go back and so don't despise small beginnings.
That's good. Yeah.
Don't despise small beginnings.
You never know how it's going to be a huge
You never know where it's going to go.
Yeah.
So it has just been it's been such an absolutely amazing ride.
Yeah, it has. Well, before we bring on our King, Austin, I mean, I know we want to give at least 1 or 2 tips, remember, about relationships, and then we can bring him into the conversation too with that. Yeah. So one tip I just want to bring out to remind people, since it is coming, like you said, with the holidays and everything. So I'm going to use me as a prototype right now, or whatever you want to call me, avatar. I'm a single person right now, and I don't have any sisters or brothers. So, in family, it's kind of, let's go say I love them and call it a day. We're not just
exactly.
They're there. So I just want to tell people, when that kind of thing happens, depending on your situation, like my situation, using, like I said, my avatar, some people might have the same avatar I have. Always make sure friends that you have can be so close as family.
Right.
And I look at you, Barbara, because I told you one of my go-to friends, and I have others. And so I don't look at it as, I don't have that, quote unquote, regular type of relationship, thing when it comes to holidays. But don't put the friends and everything to the side, because sometimes those can be more closer than even family members.
Right.
And they can understand, and you can come together, relationship build with each other. You never know. And even with clients, some clients turn to my friends.
Right. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
absolutely.
Don't let that be a stop, because, maybe you might not have that much family or what have you. So I just want people to know that, because I don't want people to be alone. That's these kind of holidays. That's the other thing that, a lot of people talk about. We don't want them to be feeling alone. Yeah.
Right. And that you took part of the words right out of my mouth, because one of the biggest things is express gratitude for your friends, and express it to them. Lots of times we express, I'm so glad that I'm friends with Barbara Beckley, or I'm so excited to be friends with having a new friend like Austin. However, it's those things. It's the magic of appreciation. And it's one of the keys of having good relationships. You can appreciate them and tell them what you appreciate about them.
Yeah, it would be kind of nice for them to hear it.
It's nice for you to hear it. And so that's my number 1 tip. But the second tip is the gift of presence.
Ooh.
When you are spending quality time with them,
Mm-hmm.
don't make it just all about you.
Oh yeah.
Do part of it of what's about them. And those, so part about you, part about them, but then how can you come together and be present with each other
That's good.
in a meaningful way? Because that is such a rare gift to really understand, because all of us, we want to be understood. So take that gift of expressing gratitude and then appreciation for the people in your life.
I love that.
It will do wonders for how your relationships are.
Understood. I'm going to add and heard. Yeah.
And heard.
Yeah. I like that. Oh, see?
Absolutely.
So,
we're going to have to do more of them, because there are, a whole bunch of other things. Because
I think this is going to be a series.
Yeah.
We got some series. Hey, I like that.
Some series. Yeah.
So with that, we're going to give some love to our sponsor, and then we're going to bring on King Austin, and we're going to talk more about relationships and anything else that's secretive that King Austin's going to talk about. But I'm not going to say nothing. We'll be right back.
Friday, everyone. Your real worth isn't defined by your net worth. What makes you valuable is how you use what you have been given. All of us have gifts. Make sure you're making the most of yours. Have an amazing Friday.
It is now the bottom of the hour. I'm excited to welcome Nancy Matthews to our program today. Nancy is an author of a book. I'm going to go ahead and highlight it in the carousel for you guys. There it is, The One Philosophy. I want to talk to Nancy not only about the release of the book, but also what it's been like for her to share the message with all of you guys. Nancy, great to have you on with us.
Hello, hello, hello. So happy to be here.
Yay. And we are back. So if you're just chiming in, you are with the Time to Shine Happiness Show with Barbara Ellison and Barbara J. Beckley, the BBs. And we have our wonderful guest today, which I call the ladies queens and I call the men kings. So we have King Austin today.
Barbara, thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to this.
Yes. I didn't say nothing, so I'm keeping my mouth shut until you introduce yourself.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. They're already doing wonders for my confidence. I've been asking my wife to call me king for, 13 years, I guess, and she won't do it. Let's see what the problem is. I'm going to go home and be like, listen, you better treat me right, all right? Because no, it is great.
She got to listen to this interview. She'll be like,
though, the amount of things I say and the crazy things I do, she'd probably just chalk it up to my husband's losing his mind. So that's the truth. So but I do appreciate you guys having me on. Happy to talk about whatever would be interesting to you guys or viewers. And I know obviously there's a couple things that happy to start shooting for the hip. I don't want to throw people off, too early.
Well, I was going to ask first, because I know Barbara Ellis knows you really well. Just let the whole other group know just a little bit, just peel a little bit, behind the scenes on how you're the founder of the wealth management. So if you give a little take on that.
Yeah, just real briefly, I opened my own wealth management. So we do financial planning, comprehensive financial planning, and investment management. We're based here in Helotes, Texas, which is just outside of San Antonio. We opened in July of 21. I've done this for not quite 15 years, but I've done this for some time, mostly in corporate America, and then just decided to leave them and try and do it in a different capacity. And I really enjoyed last time Barbara and she invited. I was, I think, a guest of her co-host on the show, and everything Barbara Ellison was saying was just words that I have those words on my website, and it's almost like listening to some of the things I've said. And it really just was a calling to separate from kind of the corporate environment and focus on what matters, which is relationships. And if you start with a goal in mind, you're able to, I think, better diagnose exactly what you're trying to accomplish. And so early monologue there, but I run financial planning, but that's really not, I think, what I do. What I do is I help people grapple with and understand what they're trying to accomplish in their life, cement their legacy, and then calibrate their resources to the execution of that.
I like that, Austin, because I feel like that all connects. I mean, especially with finances, because I deal with my own, and then I know a lot of people that have ups and downs and flows in it. And sometimes it goes back to, okay, what's their mindset? What is their relationship with money? I mean, they ask that question a lot. What's their relationship with, where did it start from, where you can't save? And it's not just because you don't have the money, it goes even deeper. So I like how you mentioned that it's more than just the financial part of it, but it's more of really building and understanding that relationship. I'm glad that you brought that out.
Yeah, I joke with my wife all the time. The end of The Notebook. I'm not a huge fan of the movie The Notebook. Like, I get down on some rom-coms. Don't get me wrong, but The Notebook is a little sappy for me. That's all right. But at the end, when Noah's like, "What do you want? What do you want?" She's like, "It's not that simple." But but sometimes it is that simple. You know what I mean? Like, let's not make it harder than it has to be. So
in fact, that's one of the best parts of that movie. I like. I do. Because I was like him. I'm sitting there. That's kind of bad. I'm like, no. I'm like, what do you want? I'm like, what? So
define it. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and sometimes I know that's what years ago a friend of mine looked at me and said that. Well, Barb, what do you want? And I said, you know what? I just want people to be happy. And it was at that moment that it was like, oh, and everything that I've done since then has been about helping people to be happy within themselves and outside of themselves, in their relationships, in their work, in their job, in their career, in their life. Yeah. Because that was my underlying, I just want people to be happy. But I have to start with myself too. What do I do to help me to be happy? Because we can't give from an empty cup.
Mm-hmm. Do you ever feel like, especially in group settings, I find that I have become pretty decent at mediating conflict to some degree. Just because you ever enter into conflict or you're part of conflict, and you're just so far down this rabbit hole. You're like, everybody's assuming motives and intentions of everybody else. Like, this all could have been cut off at the beginning if people were just upfront honest with others and predominantly themselves. Like, what do you want? And it's okay to say, I want my business results. I want recognition. Own it. That's fine. Just own it up front. Let it form. Now we all understand we're the same pages. And by the way, they do too. Everybody does. I feel like we kind of hide behind this. Well, this is what I want, but I want to seem morally virtuous too. Sure. Fine. Yeah, whatever. But just own it. It's all good, and that I think if people just are honest about their intentions, good and bad, just don't. It's fine. You pretty much cut off all conflict, and which is kind of the root of unhappiness, I think, in many cases. So it's tough though. I don't know. People spend a lot of time fighting that wind, and it doesn't have to be that way.
Right. Yeah. Because you'll find the people. That's one of the things that I share with my clients. When you are authentically you, then you will find the people who resonate with you, the person that you are. When you try to be somebody else and put content out, if it's and this is Barbara Beckley's forte of social media and stuff. But if you try to put out content of other people's, like other people, are you going to attract people that resonate with you? No.
Right.
Be you. Do you. You're the only one that can do you.
That's right.
I like it.
And it just amazes me.
How people, Yeah, I mean, I like what Austin said. Just cut through everything. What do you want? Then I was going to add to that and say, what do you want, what you don't want? Because that makes a lot of sense too. Because a lot of times we can be like, well, I want this. And then you hear somebody say, well, I want this. Well, okay, they want that. So baby, I better say they want it. I want it too. And I'm like, okay, why? Just because they want it doesn't mean you want it. So yeah, if we can just do that up front, that would kind of cut a lot of extra time on some things. Yeah. And then really be, like you said, Barbara, true to who you are and what you really want to do, what you want to say. Yeah.
To do you.
Yeah.
And to do the best version of you.
Mm-hmm.
Find out what that is.
Yeah. And be open for different ways of doing it. And I'm going to slide into that by Austin. He's looking at my face. He said, I know what you're trying to do.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could start with the kind of the order. Would it be helpful to start with the origin of how this even came to about? Like,
oh, absolutely. I want to hear.
I was with a very typical finance company most of my career, like just, you know, a big finance company, same suits every day, suit and tie, fall in line. This is what we do top to bottom across the country. Very, I won't say stiff necked, but just what you'd expect. Buttoned up, corporate, no risks taken. Just this is what we do in this box. And I think my industry, financial advisory, is pretty homogenous and it's pretty boring and it's pretty unapproachable. I'm happy to hop into that, but I just think generally there's enormous amounts of misunderstanding in my industry of how to actually connect with clients and help them invest well. And so I think that actually makes it somewhat easy to market because if you do anything other than what's in this very narrow box, you're doing something different than the industry. Now, I probably went a little further than you have to, but it just kind of, it's kind of how it unfolded. So I always think in analogies. I've pretty much my whole career, people are like, I like how you make that relatable through an analogy. So my brain just processes that. Just like see correlation through things, help people understand it that way. And so I opened the firm, like I said, in July of 21. And like right away, these pent up marketing ideas just start flowing out of me. Just the crazy stuff, raffled off flamethrower, all just crazy stuff. And then November rolled around. And we were watching Elf. I love the movie Elf. I actually love all of Will Ferrell's movies. But we're watching Elf, and I was like, you know what? What if we just start making parody movies? You know, like financial planning parody movies. You know, like people love Elf, and so what if instead of like being, you know, a Christmas elf, what if I'm a financial planning elf? Just like hear me out. We'll just the best way to provide financial cheer is playing the bagpipes for all to hear. Just like try and parody it, you know, based on what I do and see what that does. Anyway, so we shot this video, very short parody video of Elf. I mean, a lot of like similar scenes that would seem familiar, but just created by somebody who doesn't know what they're doing. And I got the outfit. It's crazy. My best part, side note, my sister, I use my sister's Amazon Prime. I don't know why. I just have forever. She's very nice to me. And so she gets probably the craziest like order confirmations. Like, what costume did he buy this month? You know? And so she's just got to be like, what is wrong with this guy? But anyway, this elf costume shows up from Amazon. And I kind of storyboarded out. We go to shoot the video. And it took all day long, not because the content was so hard to do, but because like every car that was passing me was just like stopping, just slamming the brakes. Like, is that Elf? And it's hard to tell here, but I'm 6'5", like 250 pounds. So I'm pretty big. I'm bigger than you would think you would run into an elf. So I shot this video. It was pretty positively received. I've now shot a Christmas elf parody video 3 years. What I didn't see coming was I guess I have a passing resemblance to the actual elf character. And so like last year was like the first year really like nonprofits and businesses reached out to me. And they were like, hey, we would love if you would come and just participate, just be there, because they hire Santas and they do all these like Christmas things. You have to create energy and excitement around whatever you can. That's how you raise money. And I've found like people really like the elf character. They really like it. And so I volunteer my time now pretty much all of December. And even actually my first one is, I don't know when this will air, but my first one is next week. And so pretty much the fourth quarter, I wear yellow tights and a green jacket, and I just run around San Antonio, volunteering my time to just to kind of brighten people's days. I really like the nonprofit space because people are usually going through stuff. And if you can, it's really nothing to me. It's not a big thing. It's a way to really stay grounded and centered on what is important in life. And so I dress as an elf all December. And normally I have a beard, side note. But I don't. The fourth quarter of the year, I never have a beard because I got to shave it to just fit the elf character. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's really funny. The first event I ever did as the elf, the Santa was just thrilled out of his mind. He was like, he couldn't believe, he didn't know I was coming. So excited. We took all these pictures, and Santas have this like pretty intricate network of relationships with each other. Like, where'd you get that hat? Where's the best deal on boots and whatever? And so he sent out to his little Santa group, and it's created all sorts of excitement. So this is crazy. It's crazy. I really did not see that coming, just being volunteering so much time for this stuff. But it's made the holiday a really fun time, and kind of a way to just go out and engage with your community and hopefully bring joy and happiness to people who are going through potentially tough times. So, yeah.
Wow. I mean, wow. I have to say wow twice. I mean, first of all, just being open to be so creative, Austin, to look at the fact that, what you do. Because I was thinking when you were talking about what can we do different, because, you're in the, wealth management stuff, financial. I mean, I get it, because my day job, if I'm not doing media and stuff, I've been in insurance for over 30-something years. Yeah. And when I try to talk about insurance, people be like, okay, this like looking at dry paint drying on the wall when I'm trying to explain them coverages. Yeah. And they're like, So when you were saying, okay, this work with me, let me think of something, and you got a spot right on. I mean, you did totally out of the box, and look at what it did. I mean, that's amazing.
I think, and I also think there is enormous liberation in embracing that genuine self that Barbara talks about. Like, I really think people live in some variety of a Stockholm syndrome to something, and whether that's your job or, you can't, I wish if I could, you absolutely can. The biggest obstacle to any decision in your life, to any change in your life, is always you. I mean, very few exceptions. And I think, there is just phenomenal liberation in embracing the idea that, like, hey, you know what? You're really not in control of much. Just do what you're going to do, and it'll be what it is. You know what I mean? Make good decisions. Don't throw caution to the wind. But I just think people spend their whole lives thinking this is what they're supposed to be doing, or following some script that they have, either conscious or subconsciously committed to. And it's not necessary. Just, I don't know. This is probably a hard pivot, but a big watershed moment for everybody was COVID. Obviously huge, because the way up until that point, the trajectory people expected for their life and how 2020 was going, nobody had that on their bingo card, right? Crazy. So you're watching through this and you're like, what am I doing right now? Like, what is going on? How does this fit into my plan? What I expected life to do? And then in 2021, so May of 2021, my brother-in-law passed away. He was 2 months older than me. And he passed away, and it was a huge, in our 30s, I'm still in my 30s. So it was a very defining moment as well, because first of all, I liked Evan. He's a great guy. We did a lot of hunting together back when we lived in California. Just good guy. We went back to went back to California for his funeral. And I'm telling you, mega church, Valley Baptist Church, Bakersfield, California. That thing was standing room only. And it just really has a way of just redirecting your priorities in life. And that I honestly don't know how long I'm going to live. I could die on the way home in a car accident tonight from this recording. But I do know I'm in control of every second that I have up until that point. And what those seconds are going to be filled with is what I want to do. Not what some boss in a suit who doesn't know me, not some corporate directive who doesn't know my clients. And so I named the company. The company is named after Evan. His nickname was Greenwing. Oh, wow. That's kind of duck, by the way. There's a lot of kinds of ducks. People don't know that, but it's kind of duck. And so I just feel like it's a daily reminder. Like, you don't have to be where you are, whatever that looks like. You can do whatever you want. And I think people sometimes are like, no, you can't. Yes, I promise you, you absolutely can. It's just so hard. Just take that one step. Take that one step.
That's it.
Hard. Do that.
That's what we say all the time. Take that first, no matter how small of a step it is.
Just see what happens.
See what happens.
Yeah. I left a job. Again, people, it's crazy because I really don't see, and I think you guys would agree probably as entrepreneurs, it doesn't seem like that big of a deal on this side. Like, you just got to do it. You just got to get up. You got to answer the bell. You do it. Like I left, when I left that other firm, I mean, I was making, especially for my age group, I was making a great amount of money. Things were going great. I'm married. My wife does not work, and I have 4 young daughters. They're 11 to 4 now. But when I left that firm, all right, so they were whatever that would be 3 years ago, so 8 to 1. You're like, man, they give all these reasons. Oh, well, we can't lose my income. Well, my wife works, but we can't lose my income. Oh, I have 2 kids. You know what? I did it at 33, 34 years old. You can do it. I'm not special. Like I'm not special about it. Like I'm just who I am. But so are you. You are who you are. Just do it. The world would be better if you just did it. And whether that's an entrepreneur or whether that's whatever, I don't know. Open a nonprofit. I don't know. But we waste. I just think that there will be. I said this on the last podcast I was on. I just think there is going to be a generational group. Like there's a huge group of people that are going to turn 80 and 40 years from now and look back and be like, dang it, I should have rolled the dice on myself. I should have bet on myself. I should have done that one thing, whatever, Anyway.
Yeah. So true. Ooh, that's a lot of good stuff. I mean, what I would like what you said, Austin and Barbara, I know you can chime in, is that COVID did wake us all up. I mean, that was a pivotal moment for all of us. We didn't even with that, even with history that we knew about back stuff, who would think, right? And then it got all of us to start thinking about, because we didn't have anything else to really do. When you think about it, we're in the house, we couldn't go nowhere.
Right.
It's just like you have your mind and you're kind of like, okay, do I really like what I like to do? I've been doing it for how many years? Right. I really don't like this, and then other people had to find other things to do because it's like, okay, the job that you had probably maybe wasn't there anymore, or they cut back, whatever happened because of COVID. So now you're like, okay, now I got to get creative. Right. Now what do I do? So it's a lot of that was going on. I know for a lot of people, all age groups, like I was telling someone the other day, I said, one thing about COVID, it didn't have any like certain group. It was like, we all got hit. Yeah. And we all had to rethink the process of our lives. And then you start thinking about what's more important. And I love what you said, Austin, and I'm sorry for your loss with your brother-in-law, but I'm glad that you've taken and put a legacy to him of what you two are about and how he created this company. So, you never know. Maybe that would never all this stuff that will happen if we didn't, take, like you said, do that next step, have that big old thing that happened to all of us and really rethink, do we really like what we do? I mean, I asked myself that question and I answered some of the questions saying, no, I really don't like doing this no more. I said, I need to think of something that excites me. Because then if it excites me, then I can excite others to do what they, I feel like they should be doing. So yeah, it's huge.
Yeah, I think just to kind of put a bow on my thought there, I think like what I do is wealth management. So it's typical. People come in and are like, how can I get more money? How do I become rich? Right? That's the question. But that's not the question. That is the question they say, but that's not the question they mean. Because I would argue, starting back with what do you want? If your goal, and I think most people, what you want is to live and dwell in meaningful relationships, and make a difference in your immediate community. Everybody wants to leave it better than they found it. Right? Generally speaking, I think that's true. And I would argue Evan was one of the richest people I knew. I don't think I realized how rich he was until he passed away. But it wasn't because of money. It was because he had impacted the lives of such a diverse cross-section of society in such a meaningful way. And that was so evident through the funeral process and the wake after. Like you just see it. And so I would argue, again, that's got to redefine what is wealth and what is rich. And from a financial advisor, I will tell you, money does not change your life. Like it doesn't. All it does is reflect who you are. And I say this all the time. So depending on where you see me or clips, but money is not going to solve your problems, and having more of it won't make you rich. It really is. It really is a mindset, and it's a character that you have to embrace. It's just money is just a mirror of your personality, and you have to take honest to that and define what your legacy and who you are. And if you're trying to be rich, that's impact your community. So
yeah, people need to decide what, like you said, what makes them, and it's not the money. I always tell people money is just a tool. That's not even, don't believe me, happy, sad, whatever. It's a tool. to help wherever you're trying to go when you have it. But I like what you said, Austin, about, going back to your brother-in-law, where you've seen how many lives he touched, just, being a part of that. And that says so much. And it makes me rethink to even say, okay, am I, touching life? Am I helping people? Do people, when they're around me, is it uplifting? I start asking those questions because I want to make sure that I am impacted in that way and not just, just being here. Yeah. Wow.
Exactly. And I think so often people are so caught up in, and I know I was one of them, is that we've been, like, for me, I realized at 60 years old that I had been living my life through somebody else's lens. And it wasn't that it was a bad lens or that there was anything wrong with it. It just wasn't my lens. I was living by somebody else's rules of behavior and of what I wanted, in my life and how I wanted to be known for and how I wanted to behave. Yes. And if you happen to, like, I was a much more outgoing person than what my family was, and they weren't always comfortable with it. So consequently, I always had to tone myself down, which was okay, and yet it wasn't me. So it's like, know you, do you. Do you.
Just like Noble. What do you want?
What do you want?
That's just embedded in my head. But yeah, awesome. Well, Barb, I'm glad you did you, because now what you have going on now with the Wellness Playroom, especially for people, see, there's no age limit. See, that's the part I like too, and what Austin was saying, because he's in his 30s, he's a baby compared to me. You're a baby. But I like, through all three of us, we still are able to say, look, make the decision. What do you want? Take that step. What can happen? Like I always tell people, what can they say? No. I mean, because somebody said, well, how would it do? If they just say no, you just keep it moving. Right. So, and I had to learn. I mean, I wasn't always this way. I mean, I was like them, like, I better not say nothing, or if I leave this job, or if I say it like this, it's like, you know what? Life, you live once. Right. They might say no, and then they might say yes. So how about if they do say yes? Then what? Right. So yeah, or something that you created, like Austin did with the elf. I'm still blown away from that. That's just, I'm gonna have to go to my company in the daytime and say, look, y'all need to think of something else, because this ain't working with this.
I also do want to have Austin talk about one of the other things that he does. Too, because it's all about promote. We all have bills to pay. So, and people are not going to know who we are, what we do, or why we do it unless we do something to bring attention. So, Austin, I want you to share one of your latest things that you do to bring awareness and to meet people, because people are the backbone of business.
Yes.
So just in general, like what I'm up to?
No, what your specific thing that you just did this year. That you became your certificate that you got.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. It really is. I'm telling you, I do so many things. The lag time between my thought and doing is so short now that my memory almost doesn't capture everything I do. Yeah, so I mean, I got ordained as a minister. Is that what we're talking about? That's where we're going?
That's what. Yeah, I love that.
Because the goal is meet people. That's what I have to do. For my survival, depends on meeting people. Because people don't choose. I say this all the time. Sorry. Quick monologue. People won't choose financial advisors based on their ability to be good financial advisors. They choose them based on if they trust them or not. Whether that's right or wrong, that's just broad strokes. That's how this industry works. And so, what's good, I just have to meet people. I'm not the right fit for everybody. Not everybody's the right fit for me. So you just meet people, right? And it falls where it is. And so I'm always thinking, like, how can I meet people? And I was like, I'm gonna get ordained and offer to do weddings for free for people. I don't care. Like, I love people. I love going out. I love love. I love weddings. Let's do it. You know what I mean? And so I do weddings for free, just for the opportunity to meet people, meet the guests, the father, the bride, father, the like, just meet everybody. And again, I almost never, ever pitch anybody what I do for a living. They ask, it comes up because they either like me or they don't, but generally, hopefully you're fun. People like being around you. Hey, what do you do? It comes up. This is what I do. Let me know if I can help. And they drive it. And it's just it's such a better way to do business. It's just such low pressure, just organically forming genuine relationships rather than like the corporate stuffy, like, oh, I was wondering if you had fun. No, nobody has fun. It's just it's just things like that. It's just so fun, And I also think, I don't know if you guys can relate to this. You have to do things that keep you having fun, because this job is not always fun. All jobs are not always fun, and so you gotta do things that even on the worst day give you just a little bit of engagement to come back.
I'm glad you made that point, Austin. You're so right, because there are gonna be them days where you be like,
you see that headline before the market opens, you're like, whew. Let's just call it off today, guys.
This is one of them call off days.
Yeah, wish you didn't say that. Yeah. So I mean, there's a million things you can do, but you just gotta meet people. That's it.
Right.
Well, you gotta be open to do it. See, you, the elf, and now ordained minister. What's next? I know something's coming. I know.
I don't mean I'm gonna get a cease and desist from Will Ferrell at some point, because I got a Ricky Bobby character. I got a Ron Burgundy character. Like I make parody videos. They're very silly.
Wow.
I just launched this video, like this series on panda bear investor syndrome, which is very silly. But it's like how investors are like pandas, because panda. It's gonna seem crazy. I don't even know. But their pandas are just kind of like floating around, like, oh, what's gonna happen? It's not gonna make sense when you try to explain it here, but you gotta try stuff. You gotta do stuff. And so how does that count theme?
I am not fighting you about the pandas, because if you did the elf and look at where you're at now with that, and then now you're the ordained minister and you're meeting all these people, and like I said, so I'm ready for the pandas. If they're the pandas and that gets us a the thing, bring them on.
Yeah,
I like panda cartoon, and I like that one too. So
great.
I can see you doing something with it. So wow. We got to bring you back, Austin, if you don't mind. This has been amazing. I love having
you for having me. This is tons of fun.
Yeah. So, Miss Barbara, as we do, I want to make sure you do your last motto there.
And I think we've talked about it. It's just be the best version of you. Because when you are the best version of you, no matter what that looks like, when you're the best version of you, that will impact everything, everyone, and all that you do in your life. Not just your business or your job or your relation, everything, when you are the best version of you.
Yes.
And do you. So yeah, absolutely. And do call to action. Do one thing this week. Figure out what that one thing is that you can do, and then do it, and tell somebody that you're going to do it. Somebody that you know and care about, that loves you, and then just go do it.
So Austin has his already. He has a thought about the pandas. He's going to tell someone else about it, and it's going to generate. So with that said, we'll see you at the next Time to Shine show. Take care. Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Well, goodbye, everybody, and thank you so much for listening to the Time to Shine Happiness Show. I'm your host, Barbara Ellison, and I look forward to seeing you next time, where we will have a great guest talking about making happiness the norm rather than the exception. Because, we believe that each and every one of us deserves to lead a happy, healthy, debt-free, abundant life, whatever that means to you. So join us again. And please, to get reminded, hit the subscribe button or the like button wherever you're listening to us, and we will see you next time. Have a great week. Bye, everybody.